The TRIA is a national organization. We are a manufacturers organization with contractor members. The support from an association like ARCAT in Texas and FRSA in Florida, it's super helpful. So we really appreciate that. The reason that we value the state and local organizations is that state and local knowledge can't be replaced. At a national level, we can deal with a lot of things and get some insights on the local level, but the contractor interaction and the ability to support those contractors for a local association are unparalleled. Today, I have Jerry Brown. Jerry is a registered roof observer, a roof consultant. He owns Recorp, and he manages the ARCA Academy. Jerry has 10 of the most common mistakes made by applicators. So first, Jerry, welcome, and thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
I've got the first one highlighted, and if you could speak to it, we can give an idea of what your course is like and how you support those contractors on a local level.
All right, thank you. The education classes that we give, Arizona has a different climate, and our way our buildings are built are slightly different. We have a lot of stucco and eave systems, so we run into different problems and challenges. As a roof consultant, we're out there inspecting these roofs on a regular basis every day, and we started keeping a list of things that were going wrong that we see on a pretty regular basis. In our classes, there'll be anywhere from 80 to 100 photographs showing items that have been mistakes made by contractors or applicators or the designer or even the general contractor. But as we move through these issues, we try to educate the contractors in our classes that, please take the TRI course, get yourself educated from there, and then we can talk about everything goes on in the Arizona market itself. The perimeter fastening, that is probably the number one issue that most people have caught up on, but we're still seeing people make that mistake. They'll nail the first 3 courses in from the fascia, and then they'll forget about the ridge, or they'll forget about the rake, and they won't fasten those 3 feet in. Proper head wall flashings. This is another one that's quite unique that we see all the time because there's different issues that they run into. So head wall flashing, most of the time the flashing itself is a mistake. They've got the tile all the way up where they need it, but the flashing either too high, too low, or doesn't extend out far enough. And a lot of times in the re-roofing portion of the industry, the guys say, well, there's nothing I can do about it. It is where it is. But the flashings have to be removed and reinstalled correctly during the re-roofing process. Let's say you change from a flat tile to an S tile. That head wall flashing becomes critical because that's where so much water is going to blow in into the structure. The proper detailing of stucco and east walls. This is a big issue, big issue. They'll build a house, they'll put the Z-bar in, and the Z-bar is about 1 inch off from the deck, and it's tucked in behind the stucco east system, and you go to re-roof it, and you cannot turn your underlayment 4 inches back up the walls. So we have to explain to people, hey, when you run into this situation, there are some details and special situations that we can do, but most time you've got to remove that stucco and east system and put the flashings in the right place, or you're going to end up with leak issues in the future. The securing of the cut tiles at the hips and the valleys, and even along high walls where you have a tile channel, we're finding on a regular basis that the guys are just forgetting to do this, and we got tiles slipping and sliding down our roofs. And luckily, most of our roofs are running, 412, 512, maybe 612 pitch roofs. So we're not having a lot of tiles falling down off the roof and hitting the ground or hitting somebody. But if this is a multi-story building, even at 412 and with our high winds, that's a problem. The proper spacing of the tile. So, your guide in the TRI shows you how to properly space all these tiles. And for whatever reason, we'll find that we'll have a 2-inch headlap instead of a 3-inch headlap. So the tiles aren't spaced correctly. And if we've got a whole roof that is not spaced correctly, and there's no way to fix it except for start over. Crickets. the contractors quite often feel that they're not responsible for the crickets. But our Arizona Register of Contractors clearly states that if the cricket is incorrectly built by another contractor, the roofing contractor must and shall have that cricket corrected. And if there's nobody to correct it, it is his responsibility to correct it. Well, quite often we'll have a large chimney or something of that sort up on the roof that's maybe 5 feet wide, and there's no cricket on the high side of it. And they just hold the towel back and hope the water will run off the backside of it and get around it and come on down the roof. Remember, we only get about 7.5 inches of rain each year, but the vast majority of that usually comes in 3 rains. We can get 1.5 inches of rain in 30 minutes to an hour. That volume of water, when it starts moving, will back up underneath anything. And that's why the crickets are so important. So our contractors need to always remember that the cricket is your responsibility in the end. Securement of the rake tiles. We have the stucco and eave systems. The home builders do not put nailers up there to secure the rake tiles. They're going to need a nail that's 5 inches long to reach the wood because they got 2 inches of styrofoam, 1 inch of stucco. A standard nail that you're going to use is not going to reach the wood. So they need to make sure that the wood nailers are in place that they can secure the rake tiles. One of our problems in Arizona, all of our wood dries out and cracks. So we don't have problems with wet wood so much, but we do have problems with dried out wood. So if you're securing rake tiles with a standard size nail that you're going to use for that rake tile, in about 5 to 10 years, that wood's dried out and those nails are backing out and those rake tiles are falling off. So you have to keep that in mind when you're securing rake tiles, that, 5 years down the road, if these rake tiles are falling off and hitting somebody in the head, you're still liable in the state of Arizona. Arizona's liability laws reach out about 8 years. You're responsible for whatever you do for 8 years here in Arizona. The incorrect flashing details. The TRI has a great manual for details, and those details fit 90% of all the issues that we run across. There are some details that we run across because of the eave system and the stucco systems, the ways houses are built out here, that it may not find it in the TRI manual. When you can't find it, get a hold of ARCA, get a hold of me, and we will help you figure out how to create a detail that will work, allow the roof to remain watertight, and provide protection for you against future legal litigation. There's always a way to fix them, and we most of the time have the way to fix it if you just look into it. Just call ARCA.
Jerry, thank you very much. Your 10 observations of the most common failure points is perfect to introduce your class. It'll be great to coordinate this coming year when we have a manual certification training. A contractor can send a couple of his people to the manual certification where they can really get the details and the nuts and bolts of the code, and have those same guys come back for your class. That'd be a great combination. Our new schedule is up, and the first one that we have added for an in-person manual certification is at the Arizona Roofing Contractors Association on January 13th. So maybe we can have you as a lunch speaker to introduce your class to the people that we have there.
Yep, be happy to do that.